Good morning, everybody. It is 8:13, little delayed start. Sorry about that. And then today is going to be a little more brief. I got to take my daughter to her camp, her gymnastics camp this morning. So, still get good analysis in. But, real quick, yesterday's market was basically horrendous price action, followed by that window dressing towards the close, which, disappointingly, I was eyeing that. I was in a short earlier, and while I was in the short, I heard Trump posted something on True Social, saw the market move up a little bit, and then it was just lollygagging around, and I just cut it at break even because I was just like, you know what? I've been blown out of trades from Trump posting something, so I was like, let me play some defense. That would have worked out, but that's just trading. And then obviously, I wanted the window dressing long, like I mentioned in my Discord, and literally as soon as I had to go pick my daughter up, when I left, three to 5 minutes later, I would have entered long, and that would have been a beautiful trade. But what am I going to do? I can't do anything about that. So that's just trading. And now we have Trump trying to get after Musk. Musk again making fun of this, not making fun of, but like basically bashing the bill that's coming out. Trump's trying to go after his subsidies. He's saying that he's gotten more subsidies or help from the government than anybody. He's going to look into that. And I'm like, oh boy. So currently Tesla's down 6%. Pre-market, it's pretty crazy. So like I said yesterday, we moved up again. This is getting very frothy, but there's momentum here. But as I'm speaking, the market has been pulling back. So we'll get into the levels and all that in a second. Sorry, without further ado, let's just get into this. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use market profile and volume profile to find structure in the markets along supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the previous day. That is my edge. That's how I look at markets. I also use anchored view ops and market internals. That lets me look under the hood of the market once the market opens. Now, hopefully, you join me every day. Give you the market story, the lowdown of TA, technical analysis. That's what TA is, just to let you know. And I give you what's going on in the markets every day. All right, give you technical analysis, daily charts, long and short trade scenarios in the ES and the Nasdaq futures. And then once the market opens, I use my market internals, and you'll see my live commentary. If you want to see my live commentary, you can join my Confluence Trading, my Discord, go to the YouTube homepage, and sign up. All right, you can see how the market actually works. All right, all right. Let's get right into futures and see what's moving markets. All right, so we have Bitcoin at 106. Followed by the VIX is up 3.47%. Gold's up 1.72. Silver's up 1.35. That got to be most likely mean the dollar's down. Crude's up 0.78. 30-year bonds being bought. 10-year yield's been really kind of selling off lately, which means bonds are being bought, 10-year yield being bought. So the Dow is down 0.14, ES down 0.31, dollars down 0.37. Dollar's really been taking a beating. The Nasdaq is down 0.42, Russell down 0.46, 10-year yield's down 0.55. We're at a 4.19 yield in the 10-year yield. Ethereum down 2.88%. Moving on to the Mag 7 Plus. Lead the pack. It looks like it's Apple, up 0.55. Now, Apple yesterday mentioned that they might use third parties for Siri for AI. I mentioned it was Claude, I think, and OpenAI or ChatGPT, something like that. Um, so I don't know, market kind of like that, I guess. All right. Now that's the only really leader. A bunch of flats, and we got some laggards here. Let's talk about those. So it's Broadcom down 0.96, Nvidia down 1.08%, AMD down 1.84, Coinbase down 2.66. All right, Tesla is laggard down 6.21 with that Trump Musk feud. Okay, so it's getting battered again because of that feud. Now, semiconductors were at near all-time highs yesterday. Same with financials. Okay, so we're getting pretty frothy. right? Getting pretty frothy. Top sectors or anything to note here? Yeah, let's just go real quickly. Um, Staples are starting to make a move. You got Procter and Gamble, PepsiCo. All right, but then the bottom of the list, you can see Snowflake down 1%. Okay, and moving on to sectors. This is how we look at the markets here. You got leading is energy up 0.13, which is not much. And then the laggards. All right, you got financials down 0.23. Same with technologies down 0.22. Semis down 0.58. Remember, risk off when semis are down. And discretionary down 1%. That's your Amazon, your Tesla, your Home Depot. It's basically due to Tesla. All right. All right. Now, real quick, because there's not much to talk about here. We're going to get into those market internals recap here. So you can see, right, right here, the market internals were literally garbage. And it was at zero, at zero, at zero. Hence the price action above in the SPX, right? So there wasn't much there. Now, the only thing that I noted in my Discord, okay, was that semis, communications, discretionary were all down. They were actually relatively weak yesterday. So that gave problems for the market to actually do something. This is where I got short, like in here. And then I got a nice move. And then that Trump thing right here came out. And like I said, I didn't know it was going to happen or not. So I was like, you know what? This market's chopping around. And then it did some games here. And then dropped. That would have had my target set at the low of day. That would have made me hit my target. But like I said, it was garbage price action. Now, here's the move. Came right to this gamma level. Right here, I would have gotten long. And this was around like 240. And I literally left at like 240. And I was like waiting for this move all day for this window dressing. And that's what happened. See, the market got bought up into the close, end of quarter, end of month. Okay. So that's the market internals recap. I did, if you notice here, had to rearrange this sector boxes in the order of weight. So now Infotech is 33.1% of the market cap in the S&P 500. Financials is the number 2 at 14%. Consumer discretionary now is number 3 at 10.4%. Communications at number 4. Did I just say consumer discretion number 3? Communications number 4 at 9.8. Healthcare slipped all the way down because healthcare has been weak this year to 9.3. It's now the number 5. It used to be number 2. Believe it or not, it used to be number 2, and now it's down all the way to number 5. Followed by industrials. Okay, that's just an update that I did. All right, now we can move on to economic calendar. Okay, today we have Fed Chair Powell speaking right at the market open. Jeez, that's horrible timing. Then we have ISM manufacturing PMI at 10, Jolts Jobs at 10, ISM manufacturing at 10. Okay, so really, pretty much if Powell's speaking, 10, I'm probably going to wait to do something 10:05, 10:10. And this could be all barcode. I don't know. He could move markets, obviously. It's might be this summer trading is happening. Now we are pulling back as I'm speaking pretty nicely. So I don't know. Okay. Now let's look at some movers here. Tesla stock slumped 4.8% after U.S. No, it's down more than that. After U.S. President Donald Trump escalated his feud with Musk, accusing Tesla CEO of benefiting excessively from government subsidies. All right. Now, moving on to more news here. Let's see. U.S. Senate Republicans struggling to unite on Trump's 3.3 trillion tax cut bill. Exclusive Doge now targeting SEC policy. Eyes SPAC rules. Source says. All right. Let's see here. It says preview Tesla's quarterly delivery seen falling again. Like I said, I'm only going to mention stuff here. Let's see here. That moves the markets here. I'm just. That's about it. The juice doesn't really. Let's see. Oh, okay. Well, Trump said at 7:58. Trump, the tax bill will hopefully pass today. All right. I think we can move on to daily charts. Let's go to daily charts now. Really not much to talk about here. Let me get rid of this. So literally broke out of this balance, gap up. You've moved higher. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. 5 days. Okay. So it's getting frothy. Remember, futures has not hit all-time highs. SPY has. So very interesting here. You can see that's last week's highs. We had pretty much a doji candle yesterday. Okay, let's look at futures right now. You can see right now there's a little bit of weakness happening in futures. Okay, a little bit of weakness. Go back to SPY real quick so I could just tell you where we're at exactly in SPY relative to the close. So we were at close at 1617.85, which would be right here. We are now currently at 616 basically. 616. We're right about here. So we're at the low, near the lows of yesterday. All right, now let's look at the Qs. Qs, same thing, higher, higher, higher. Doji candle closed above yet last week's highs, but right now we're at 549. So you're pretty much at the lows of yesterday. All right, let's look at futures. You can see here the market's pushing down here, kind of like a double top here. Let's see if that holds. Okay, let's see if that holds. Now we can go on, move on to triple-headed monster. That's your bond market. The bond market has been getting bought, which means yields have been going lower. Okay, you can see we're just in a downtrend here. Past all this stuff, maybe we land at 4.13 yield. So this is your triple-headed monster here. Okay, now we're going to move on to the dollar. Dollar's been really falling apart. Okay, like I said, I still think we get some kind of a rebound, but until that happens, we'll see. It's had a couple attempts here, here, and it's been failing. All right. So we got VIX 30 days out of fear. Now the VIX popped up a little bit. You can see here, still at a 17.45 VIX. So can it move back up and get some more volatility? Maybe. Don't know. This week's a short week. Remember, Thursday's a half day, and then Friday's closed. Okay. Now we're getting a nice candle right now, selling candle right now. We're gonna go into hourly charts here. We'll start with the ES. Okay. And just certain levels here that I want to point out. Okay. So you can see this is hourly chart, of course. All right. Now, this level right here, 62, let's call it just 62.39. All right. Happens to be last week's highs. Happens to be the most traded price of the week and yesterday pretty much right here. The market needs to hold that. If it can't, we're probably going to see some selling, which we are right now. Okay, you can see this nice little candle here. Okay, what I did is I put an anchor view up right on this candle where we failed and ripped up, right? So I wanted to see the average buyer is right there, that anchor view up. That's telling me the average buyer is there. They're underwater right now. Okay, can we close below that and below this big level? We have to see. Next, we have this anchor view up from this swing low that has not even been tested, not once. Okay, like I said, we're very frothy. Okay, we have a demand here. We could pop. If we take out this low here, we probably could see this double bottom here and this maybe test this anchored view up in this demand zone. Who knows? I don't know. Okay, Same story in the NASDAQ. Okay, we have another level to talk about. Let's open this up a little more. Okay, now in the NASDAQ, we have 22820 is the most traded price of yesterday and the most traded price of the week. Look at that. I said yesterday, if we held it, that's bullish. If we lost it, I said this in my Discord yesterday, that is good. We're going to lose something. Okay. Now, Tesla is not helping the NASDAQ. Now, I have an anchored VWAP, remember, right from this candle. It defended it yesterday, and look, now it's taken that out with the most traded price of the week. Remember, this means that this is the most trades of the rolling week has happened at this level. So below it is bearish, above it is bullish. Okay, so right now you're taking out all of this. Okay, so very important. We're about to hit this demand zone right here. You lose this, you're probably going to test this area that you're 226 about. We have to see. I don't know. Remember, Powell's talking, a bunch of stuff's happening. All right, so that's your hourly chart analysis. We're going to move now on to the market profile, volume profile. Let me just switch my workspace. Okay, we're going to get right into this. All right. This is your market profile, volume profile analysis. All right, so profile doesn't, it's kind of an ugly profile. Many distributions here. You can see the most traded price of the week. Okay. Now, that did move up. That level is 62.35 right there. This is the level I was just talking about in the hourly chart. Okay. So you can see here we have an overnight high and yesterday's highs right here, 62.24 in this demand. That is going to be a key area. Okay, that is going to be a key area. We do have supply right up in here at 62.57 is the overnight highs. Okay, right here. We didn't get a chance to even touch this supply in the past from yesterday's highs, but I'm going to include that in yesterday's highs. Okay. So it's all about what we do here right now. That big level, 62.36. That's the most traded price of the week. And yesterday, it's kind of like, what do we do? Do we accept value below here? If we do, we're gonna move lower. Okay. If we do, we're gonna move now. Now, I want to open this up so we can see the price action of the overnight. There it is. All right, and we're gonna get right into scenarios here. We're gonna start with the bear case today. Okay. So it's all about this level right here. Okay. So right here you can see is the overnight lows right here. Okay. You can see it's been downtrending. Now you're getting bought up right here. Okay. Now, what you want to see. Okay, let's do scenarios here. I don't know if I put this up yet. I think I did, but I'm going to put it up again. Okay, we're going to start with the short side. If the market cannot accept value above 62.36 and we rip back, we are going to test this area, that 62.24, this demand zone. You can see there's a confluence low here, right here. Okay, that's a big level. If we take this out, okay, we're probably going to go land around 61.90. You see there's a high volume node here, right? And then if we don't, we could fall into this demand. Okay, market needs some type of profit taking, some type of something eventually. Don't know if that's today. Okay, market could also rip up, come up to this supply, tap the overnight highs, and also maybe go back down to here to here. All right. Now, like I said, I think it's a little frothy here, this market. So if we manage to make it up all the way up to yesterday's highs and to this supply, depending on internals, if we get lower high, good morning, Chief, we might be able to go back to balance. Okay. Again, Trump speaking, you have ISM data coming out at 10. So a lot of stuff coming out down the pipe that I don't know. And remember, news catalysts, all that stuff can move markets, right? Now we're going to look at the long side. This is definitely summer trading field this week so far, especially with the shortened week. Now long side, okay, if we pull back into this area and come down here, okay, and the market is not that weak. If I'm looking at internals and I'm like, oh, this market's not that even that weak, 62.20, and say we hold, definitely can take some off here at the 62.36 area and see if you can break that overnight high and touch this supply zone. Okay, also what could happen, you could push up, hold, and push up as well. This will be judged on my internals, all right, basically. Okay, so that is your ES. Okay, now we're going to move on to the NASDAQ here. Let's look at our beautiful NASDAQ here. All right. Very consolidated look in the NASDAQ right off the bat. Right off the bat. Okay, we got single prints here. Went right into this demand zone and ripped back up. Okay. So, right off the bat, we have a huge level here. Call it 22750 with this demand zone. You can see the overnight low now is matching a previous overnight low with this demand zone. Okay, so this area becomes very key. It already got buyers here. Okay, but we come knocking on it again, it could cause a sell-off. Okay, got single prints here. Now, again, the 22820 in the NASDAQ futures is very key. It's the most traded price of the week and yesterday. Okay, that's the most traded price, the most agreed upon price. People are willing to pay this price. So if all traffic's here, that becomes a line in the sand. That's why I talk about the most traded prices. You can call that, I call that the most traded price of the week. I call it the VPOC for the week. 22820. Acceptance below it is bearish, acceptance above it is bullish. That's how I look at these levels. Okay, now we have a very key supply zone here. You can see right up in here we have supply and we have yesterday's highs. So a lot of up here, rod of failure up here, right? With this supply here. Now remember what I told you. Semiconductors were nearing all-time highs yesterday. Financials was near all-time highs yesterday. Okay, a little frothy. Now, don't get me wrong. We can pull back and rip them apart. Okay. Now we have this demand zone down here as well. Now we can get right into it. Okay, and get into our scenarios here. Let's do it. And then I gotta go. All right, we're gonna talk about the bearish side first. Prices here in single prints, right? Emotional selling at this point. We're below the most traded price, 22820. What I want to see if I'm a short, right? I want to see this push up into this level, the most traded price, and see if it rejects. The most traded price of the overnight was also here. So if this does something like this and you can't find acceptance over it and you rip through it, you're going to fall, take out these single prints, you're going to test this 22750. This 22750 demand zone. If you take out this demand, you're most likely going to fall down to about 226 into this demand zone. Okay, there's a lot of demand below here, so I would expect a pop. Okay. Now, this could also happen. This has to be fast. The market can really quickly come up here, fail in this supply, fall back, and then maybe you go here. Okay, that's what I'm looking for today. And again, there's a lot of stuff happening today with Powell and ISM. Who knows what Musk and Trump are going to say today? All right. Now, as far as the long here, now that Tesla's not going to help the Nasdaq. It's not going to help the overall market. Okay. Now, we're looking for a long. We're already in an area where I would look for a long. Okay. So if the market opens up and we push down right here into this demand, okay, happens to be, I believe, last week's highs right here. No, that's not. That's not. That's a close. Last week's highs is here. I'm sorry. So scrap that. All right. We hold it. Lower high, lower high. See what we do here. I would take some off here and then see if you can ride this up and try to break out. All right. That 22915 about this area has been resistant. Okay. I don't know what's in the cards today. Right now, semis are weak. Discretionary is weak, but I don't know. Okay. I know Tesla lost a big level. 317.50 was a big level in gamma, and we're below that. Okay. We're hovering around 300, around 298. Okay, in Tesla. Now, that's one. Okay. Now, if we just do this, rip above this level and hold, we can also try to find a breaking out here. Okay. Now, if we open up and just rip down and go into this demand zone, all right, around 226, this is another chance for a pop. Now, this has to happen quick, and I don't want to have weakness that much in the market for this to go boop, and then you can try to rip back up. Okay. That's what I'm going to be looking for today. NASDAQ has this nice consolidation in this area. That's why it's like a little box. And what's going to happen? Are we going to do this or this out of this box? Or we stay in the box? I don't know. We'll have to see. Okay? That's my analysis today. Again, smash that like button if you enjoyed it. Alright, smash that like button. Now, if you want to join me every morning, have a cup of coffee, tea, water, whatever you like. I'll give you the market story, the market news, the economic calendar, leaders and laggards, and also a bunch of TA, which I just gave you. Okay, so subscribe, set that alert. Alright, and as always, I'll see you guys tomorrow. But if you want to see me a little later, you can go to my Discord, Confluence Trading, join the community, see my live commentary. I'd like to see you in there. Again, like I said, if you guys want to have some gamma levels, have some people join in there. I'll do a tutorial on the gamma levels and how to use them, and I'll share my indicator, okay, which I update every day. All right, everybody, have a great day. Stay green. No trade to trade. And I'll see you in Discord later, or I'll see you tomorrow.